Let's do it. Let's pretend we know what we're doing. Call it what we just called to order. We got a roll call. Do you have to name names or do we have to introduce ourselves? Oh, cool. I'm Chuck Cratch. I'm the current chair, the temporary chair of this thing. Been on the committee since.
I'm next. I'm Gary Barnes. I guess I'm the vice chair. I've been on this about 2.5 years.
Yeah, maybe 3. You pilot?
Yeah, Nathan Aaron's, yeah, my pilot. Just very recently had a little light sport.
Oh.
There. Yeah, it's my first time here.
Good.
That's me. Girls, I've been on Navy for several years, not a long job, but it's been 3 years. I'm pilot as well.
Mel Huffman, second year, and RV-9A pilot.
I'm Rob Romeo, transportation manager, and been here 3 years, 4 years, August for me.
I'm Debbie Orker, and I'm working on the 1929 hangar project.
Everybody knows.
So I'm Tony On. I run the FBO. He was my student, so I mean,
Good. All right. Election. Everybody needs one.
All right. So it's now time to elect the chair. We'll start with the chair and then do vice chair. So for the 2023 Airport Advisory Commission, have any nominations for the position of chair? Oh, I'm sorry, 2024. Cool. Got to change that. So any nominations for chair?
No, trying to be chair.
Sure.
Second.
So we have a motion to nominate Mel for chair, and we have there's no contested nominees, so okay. Congratulations, Mel. You're now
Congratulations,
the
Mel.
chair.
It's easy to get some water in here. Some distance.
Run campaign, yeah.
Okay. So now it's time to elect the vice chair for our 2024 campaign. So any nominations for vice chair? You accept the nomination? Okay. Any other nominations or anybody else wanting to run for chair?
Feel free.
So it looks like it's uncontested, so unanimous, and congratulations, you're the vice chair.
Vice chair brings it
Oh, we forgot to say that.
up. Let alone the new guy. Let alone new guy. New guy always brings it up.
So, Mel, do you want to take over the meeting? Sure. Now,
Okay, since I wasn't here for the November meeting, has everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes?
Move to approve.
Any discussion?
Second.
We do need a second.
yeah, so,
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the November minutes, raise your right hand. Oh, we have to say aye too, don't we? So,
It's my training today.
yeah, that's right, you were there. So, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
hey,
So now we come up to staff updates with Mr. Romeo.
all right, so lot since last time. We've got mole control ongoing. We really haven't seen any new holes out there popping up, so that's a good thing. Nutria, I think, have been being taken care of by the eagle down there at the south end. Kind of scares me. I ended up calling the Forest Service, USDA, and the National Forest Service, to try to work with them to come up with a solution. It's on ODOT property, basically, so we've got to get ODOT involved, waiting to hear back from them. Left them phone calls, nothing. But I put out a NOTAM for a wildlife hazard to the southwest end of the airport. So that's on there. Tony put that message on the AWAS recording as well. So make sure we're notifying pilots when they're out and about, so we're aware of that. I really haven't seen it, really be flying a lot out there. So
Is it easy to see the net?
yeah, you can see it on the south end. So, yep. Updates with things we've been working on. We had a water leak in the historic hangar over the new year. Did a little bit of damage to some of the ceiling tiles in there. It's an old galvanized pipe, and it runs along the exterior east wall in there up the top, comes down, goes outside and back inside. And there was more than one leak in there. One of the PVC pieces at the beginning of the valve broke as well. So we fixed that, turned it back on, and it was still leaking. So at the end of this, I think the 27th, we're going to have a contractor come in and place it all in PEX. So the nice thing about PEX is it doesn't blow up like a galvanized water line or PVC. It'll basically freeze, and you won't have water. It won't, create a leak.
Is it a main line or is it a needed line to be?
Yes, yeah, yep. It's water supply to the restrooms in there in the kitchen. So I think in the process of having the plumber come in, we're going to take out the hot water heaters that Happy put in over on the west wall, take out the existing water lines that are old and I think ready to break. I don't even want to turn that water on yet. It basically feeds the hot tub in there, goes into the kitchen from there. So we'll just take all that out and then run it from the PEX to the other side, and hit all that. So it's not going to be a lot more work, but we'll just, the work will be taking out the hot tub, cleaning all that room up. It's pretty nasty in there. It's very interesting. So that's been a huge process and chore. Some of the things I've been really busy with right now. I went to council last night and got approval for accepting our core grant for our new update for the taxiway lighting, the new Happy upgrades, and it's going to reseal the taxiway this year. So we got approval to accept that. I've got to apply for, we were granted through the Oregon Department of Aviation money. So the way this works, it's a $2.2 million grant. And what this project is going to cost, it'll end up costing the city by the time we use the core grant and get reimbursed through the FAA. It'll cost us $22,000. So pretty good deal for what we're going to get for $2.2 million. So, and then on the other side of things, the BIL, the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law grant, we're getting to re-roof the FBO hangar and then the 1929 hangar. We're kind of in the process. We've been granted a core grant for that, and we're not sure what that'll cost. And there'll be upgrades too with some of the heating in that. So infrared electric heaters, we replace the gas heaters. The FBO hangar.
The maintenance hangar?
The hangar. Yeah, the maintenance hangar, and then the 1929 hangar.
Scared for the gas bill though, but then again, the gas, I think last month, I just spent about $550 on gas.
It'll be electric.
Yeah, so, and then my electric was like $260.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Hopefully they're a little more efficient. I know the 1929 hangar, I talked to Luke, he'd mentioned Happy was scared in terms of gas. So I think it's a better option for the historic hangar to have electric infrared heaters. We'll see what we can do there. So our last time you asked about the land leases, the term expiration dates, here's that in this paper. You guys got that?
Yes. Okay. So I see that on that, looks like 745 is the soonest one to come up in 2029, which is 5 years out.
Yeah.
Do you foresee crystal ball at this point, any reason that those would not be renewed?
At this point, it's just really hard to say. Yeah, it's going to be, until we get there or we're a year out, trying to see direction we have to go. I know it kind of ties in with the budget to where we're at. We've got to figure something out. I had the budget printed out here, but I kind of wanted to wait and maybe next month. I want to talk to Chris and Jeff Babbitt and give you guys a better overview of the budget. Because right now there's some things in there that I'm not familiar with on the capital side of where some money's coming in. I want to be clear when I explain that to you guys. But I think the budget right now, what's happening is our operating budget is, over exceeding, our revenues. So the money we get from fuel sales and everything is not keeping up. And a lot of the reason is my wage. And I'm only a quarter of the time for this. That's one part of it. Another is the stormwater fees that we have to pay that we didn't used to have to pay. Those are pretty expensive. And like I said, we'll go over this stuff and we can detail that. I just want to talk to Chris and Jeff and see. So I get more of an understanding, explain it to you guys so I can do a good job. Don't mind, defer that to next month.
Yeah, that part's fine, Mel. That's just something that's your, so.
It's kind of a
Okay,
double-edged
thanks for all
sword.
up on that.
Yeah, you betcha. Yeah.
Kind of a double-edged sword because these people put out their money years ago. I'm surprised the city could.
The airport is pretty common.
It's very, very,
Yeah, for reversion.
What's that, take it away or change it?
25 years after it's built, they become city property.
That's what the lease said.
It
And
is
it also said it could be renewed every 5 years. So
Well, it's a 30-year lease, and then there's 2 5-year extensions. Once you hit that 40 years, then it reverts back to the city. Now, you can take your structure and move it. Up to you.
Yeah.
Or you can leave it there and the city takes it. So
I said double-edged sword because our charge is to get additional funds for the airport. Nothing could be better than the reversion.
exactly. We don't know. We just don't know.
Up to a point. As far as the reversion, it can bring money into the city or county, again, it responds to the airport. But the owners of that property right now pay to the city for those, right? They pay property tax and stuff.
25 cents a square foot.
It's now, it went up. CPI was 3.5%, so it's now, it was 0.29 cents a square foot. Now it's 0.30.
And there have been cases, as he said, they can take it. There have been cases where I'll be held if they'll give it to them and they destruct them.
Yeah. How many people stay in there for the whole life of their lease?
Well, yeah, there's been,
Is there a decent turnover? A lot of guys are 40-year tenants out there.
no, because some people have passed away and other people have taken over. There's been quite a few sales out there.
Well, we're just coming up on 30, right? This one coming up 29, that would be 30 years at that point, right? That one hasn't renewed 5 yet. If I understand correctly.
Right, yeah,
So see, we're not even up to 30 years.
Right.
Yeah.
How long, so those,
but there have been.
this just started 30 years ago, it's the first time. It's come
Well,
up, like-
in 29, this one, 30 years.
But prior to that, that just wasn't happening with the hangars out there.
In theory, that was the first year a hangar was built.
Right, it was there
That's
before.
my guess. Yeah. And there's, some people sold their hangars. We don't start the process over. They keep the same dates.
Well, I mean, one thing to consider is, yeah, reversionary clause will be good for the airport, for the city, right? But it all will also prohibit new build out. So it's a double-edged sword, right? I mean, what are you gonna do, you know?
Potentially.
Yeah.
I even talked to
Yeah,
somebody who's interested in building, they said, I don't really care about that, I'm 50,
Right.
I won't be around. And Yeah. Yeah, so I think that's all I have for now, and just,
I'm just curious, what would the lease increase be from somebody who has a property now? What are they paying now? A couple $100 a month, say 36 a square foot, so $300 on 1,000 square feet, something like that. What does it go up?
But that's
the
even
CPI. So, and usually it just depends, the CPI has gone up, I mean, quite a couple years ago.
They don't know yet. They haven't run into this yet. So what they would rent it back.
Yeah, I'm just curious, if somebody's paying $300 a month now and they lose it, what will we be able to rent it for, like 700 a month? Or
Well, it's what the market will
Yeah,
bear.
However,
You know, if you're throwing out $700 a month, I'm out of there.
yeah, I'm just curious, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm paying $300 right now to Dan and Penny Multenberger.
Well, they'll get bigger hangers up there.
Well,
But yeah,
that's true.
but that just hasn't happened yet. We haven't got to the end of the 30-year lease.
And now, if you look at it naturally, there are some municipalities that say, and they basically price themselves right out, stop renting the hangar. And it causes pilots to move their airplanes to a cheap place.
So Rob, roughly, what is Dan paying for one of those 10-layer hangars a year or a month? You know, so it's only 3,000 a year.
He's one of the bigger hangars, he's, like the, I
275, 280.
think it's,
I don't,
So he's making, let's say,
anybody else want to know these, it's basically
a
a
month,
the lease revenue that we have.
25,000 a year, and he's paying 3,000 a year. Is that?
Well, there's the insurance and then there's property taxes, there's all, I mean,
I'm just trying to
utilities.
get a grasp. I at one time thought that 30 cents a square foot was a lot larger in revenue than it actually is. It's not a huge. In fact, it's 32,000 a year for all the leases. So that's what Miltonberger makes.
but he subleases those out.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Daniel and Penny Miltenberger spent, and if I remember correctly, they spent well in excess of $1 million building hangars. For 30 years, 40 possibly. They own them. And they could sell a hangar or they could lease a hangar. There are a couple of people in those hangars. In my hangar, at least 2 of them were purchased. I tried to get Daniel and Penny to sell me my hangar. They just won't do that. So I have a lease, and right now the rate is $300 a month. And they pay for the electric. So there is no heating here, so it's electric.
And insurance.
But I pay, but my insurance policy covers, now, of course, they've got insurance too for their, and so that's pretty much how that goes. Now, in the blue hangars, further to the south, I don't know how many people own those hangars, but there's a number of them that are owned by people that hangar their aircraft in. But at some point in time, it's going to revert to the city. And I don't know how that's going to play out because those people, I would say in good faith, thought they owned those hangars when in fact, sorry, you don't. So any idea how that's going to happen?
I don't know. This time.
The reversion was part of the original contract.
It's at least.
Well, then that's where it goes, right?
if somebody,
But it has to do with
if the person that sold those or subleased elected to say that's
Yeah.
their problem. So that's it.
What'd you say, it's 3,000 a year
Yeah, that's all they're paying. So it's not significant. The increase would be 100-fold in revenue to the city. It's huge. But it's not gonna happen in 1 year.
On a different item, as Tony expands his operation there, they've converted a bit of the south side of the FBO. Is there, I thought there was talk about putting in restroom facilities in there, or has that been negated or bench? What?
Well, so that was before COVID, and then COVID happened and pretty much everything shut down. I still have the application to run it, but yeah, right now, I mean, it's really not being utilized that much, so I don't see the need for me to spend all that money to put a bathroom.
Okay.
So, I mean, we'll cross that bridge. We know where the water and sewer line goes into that building, but it's just basically when I want to pull a trigger and where it's going to be located.
You talking about a new building or just renovating that classroom area?
The classroom area on the south side. Yeah, I was going to put a bathroom inside where the kitchen area is,
Yeah.
but I need to kind of think about that because we don't want to
Some
thinking. Yeah, there's no logistics involved.
Is it like a commercial kitchen or so?
No,
No, it's just a kitchen for people to heat up their food and there's tables in there and stuff like that. Yeah.
it's not a kitchen.
No, it's so,
No, there's a
Yeah,
refrigerator.
there's no water in there
And a
either.
microwave. Water,
Dispenser.
water dispenser. No, not bottle. Well, yeah, you put the big bottles on. That's it. Okay. So that's it for you?
Yeah.
Rob?
Yeah.
Okay, Tony?
Stop. Okay, so February. So I got a call from one of the pilots at the airport. They were wondering, we have a sewer line that's going through like the middle of the runway and taxiway. If that's going to prevent future hangar build expansion. So I told them, there's a water main, and we can't build on top of that anyway.
There's already a sewer line that goes through there, and then the airport master plan, there isn't any building over that.
Okay.
There's 2 box hangars, I think, and they go around over it. Not over it, but they're on each side. But there's not, because I was asked kind of the same question. I don't think you can build on that north side of the last hangar we have there, the south hangar starter. I don't think we can build on that north side because of the sewer line, the big box hangar.
Okay.
But if somebody was interested and they wanted to do a pen and ink, and this is where we want to build this, and send it to the FAA and get a 163 determination, then the FAA can determine if that's something we could put in that master plan and make that determination if that can be built there.
Okay. But not considering the master plan, that sewer line is not going to prohibit, part of the city of Albany's code or, Oregon code. It's not going to prohibit anyone from building on top of that,
I don't know that.
right? Okay. Because I know the water line, they specifically said you can't build on top of that.
Yeah, in my knowledge with the city, you can't build over a sewer line. There are some cases where that's happened, they shouldn't have. So I think in the whole scenarios, that's kind of the last thing you want to do is build over a sewer line, just in case there was a repair. This sewer line is 20 feet deep, so they need access if something happened there. So they need pretty big space. So with the new addition, I think they're going to expand. I think it's going to be like a 42-inch sewer line. It's going to be burst underneath the runway. So
36 inch.
I think it's 42.
Oh,
I
man.
think it's gonna expand East Albany.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and we've got approval to do up to the fence from the FAA. We did a bending. They determined we don't need to do the NEPA and everything. We can come up to that point. So there's going to be construction there this summer. They'll probably close that south gate. We'll have to go down by the fuel tanks, down the taxi. Because a month or two. I don't know if that's going to take because that following summer, I think is going to be the project. Come in and help dig out both sides and burst through.
So it currently runs perpendicular to the runway.
I think they said at one time, if you did build there, as long as where that sewer line stuff is, would be like the taxiway between hangars, that can be dug up. It's just that the building itself can't go.
Right.
Yeah, so the ramp or the taxi lane or whatever could be there, we just can't build a building.
Yeah, and you just have to do a pen and ink and go to the FAA, do a 163, figure out what's allowable there.
And then based on where the line is, you could either build, well, and I'm only envisioning where it is. So you may not be able to build anything to the south, but you may be able to build closer to the FBO and dovetail it right into, taxi right into the fuel ramp area. So there is a possibility of expansion, just not a lot of it.
And so, I know, I think the city of Albany is all getting into like electric vehicle infrastructure. I think from what Hassel Harry saying, there's one in the downtown Albany area. I never used it, but I think this might be a perfect location by the historic hangar. We're right off of I-5 for Tesla superchargers. And not just Teslas, but a lot of other electric car manufacturers are moving to that same connection. So, it will be quite busy. And I think the nearest one is in Brownsville or Salem. So there's really nothing in the middle. There's nothing in Corvallis. So if you're going to the coast, you're kind of screwed until you get to Newport. So I don't know. I mean, if that's something that, I think it might draw people into Albany area. And, if the airport, if the museum's open, okay, why not, right? So if you guys are working on that or even thinking about that, I think that might be a good location for it.
And how many would you envision?
Well, I mean, you would want at least like 10 stalls.
How would we get that
I
power?
don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah, so that's a power issue. So, I don't know how much power we have going in. It's gonna need.
You remember how the notorious flagpole was from power from box to the pad or to by the sign? That was-
Good Tesla.
Is there any,
Well, there's like grants.
They have to be a grant, have anything for that.
right,
Oh, yeah. I mean, for using the grant, I think the state of Oregon is all, and the federal government is all about pushing these kind of grants for the electrical infrastructure. So if we can get it, I mean, it'll be extra power that we could use as well for future expansion. I mean, if the power is available, why not, right?
Your legislatures, to be legislative, talk to them and say this would be a great spot for it right next to I-5.
Location wise, it would seem smarter to be north of the north hangar. If you're gonna put in 10 stations.
So I mean, if we can promote the museum, great.
Oh, yeah.
If not, then right by the A4, I think that'd be awesome too. They'll see the planes go right over.
all these Teslas parked right over.
And then, if they need the bathroom, sure, Cascade goes right there.
You can pretty well shoot any possibility of an instrument approach in and out of there.
And they gave a flight instrument approach at Albany. I mean, today we had a couple of instrument students, and they were like, "We could take off, but we just can't land." I'm like, no. Okay.
So is that it, Tony?
No, I have a lot more.
I had a question off that, Tony. How does the power stuff work for airplanes? Is that the same kind of system? Have you looked into electric airplanes and power?
I talked to the director of Oregon Department of Aviation. He stopped by, nice guy. And, his, goal is to, increase electrification or availability of electricity for electric aircraft. So he's kind of looking into that kind of infrastructure as well. But I don't know how far they could go with, they're kind of strapped on budget too. So I don't know how far they could go, but he mentioned it and he seemed very excited about it. And, if we have all that power coming in through another grant, then, stick wire, underneath the historic hangar. Put a charging station.
We need somebody to do a design specification before you could even apply for grant.
But if you check Tesla's website, they have a thing where, if you're a landowner or whatever, and you want to have a charger, you can put in your information, they'll contact you if they're interested. And I don't know how much involvement they are looking for or how much money I have no idea. Yeah, but at least it will get on their radar and then, see what's involved. Well, maybe, who knows, maybe they pay for the whole thing, I have no idea. Huh?
So I have a question is, would it be, placed outside of the fence? Because,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. All right, and then, all right, so we received our first simulator that's inside our sim room. We're gonna do some promotions throughout, starting now to end of April. And then we're looking at getting another simulator, but this one is gonna be inside a trailer. It's gonna be maybe, I think it's like 20-foot toy hauler, and they have the simulator in the back. And so the logical place for it would be on the south side of the FBO building. But there's no electrical connection. So I might need some electrical work done. That'd be ideal, right?
A toy hauler on the airport.
You'll have my sign and it'll be nice. It'll look very nice.
If it's on wheels, you get a generator and marry that up to this toy hauler.
Mhm.
And that way you can take it out to the schools and say, here we are, folks. So let's look at an aviation career.
Yeah. Well, we could do that, but it has a built-in generator, but you gotta put fuel in it and do all that. It'll be easier to just plug it in. Obviously, right?
I don't think we're gonna have a toy hauler parked on the south end there.
And it'll look, like I said, it'll look very nice.
No.
But the main thing is it'll have a
They will have
simulator.
every other toy hauler that people want to park out there as well. I was like, dude.
How about, could I put like a flight simulator inside or something? No, I don't know about that. It's a chair anymore.
Jay will have his motorhome parked right next to that.
Well, anyway, so that's a thought, right? Just a mull over it, right? And then since we're doing some electrical work on the south side, I was like, on the north side by the gate, the vehicle gate between our hangar and Dan and Penny's hangar. There's a camera. I think I talked to you about it before. I think the public works was thinking about doing something, but I don't know. So
I'd like to have a camera there.
yeah, so all I need, I have the cameras. Right? All I need is a 110 volt outlet underneath somewhere, right? And then I'll run it, and then I can share that
You
feed.
probably power right there at the outlet gate.
No, at the hangar. So above, at the
Okay.
eve of the hangar, on the northeast side corner, and then it'll be facing the gate. So there's junction boxes for the lighting, but it's not. I need a plug. So I don't know if we can.
You just need an electrician.
Yes, and we have it. And they have an electrician.
I think we know a couple of electricians that could put in a power box.
But yeah, I would ask Doug, but he's not. He needs to work under general contractor. I think he's a journeyman or something like that. So there's some limitations.
Power into that building, don't you? So we just have to put.
Yeah, well, there's power, but it's just a junction box. I don't know what's inside. Yeah.
And then a box
Yeah.
up there with.
Yeah, but I don't do electrical or plumbing work, I'm sorry.
I'll ask Shane for that.
Okay,
See if we-
okay, so that, and then I can share the feed with Rob. I mean, you know, it's just for, you know, record, yeah, security anyways. And then, let's see, we just had FA inspection for our 141 training program, all went well. So we're good for another year. I mean, we get inspected for the maintenance aspect of it and the operations aspect of it, so every year. So we're good for another year on that one. The fuel, so I was thinking, I mean, all these times for the past few years, I was like, all right, you know what, I can sell it cheaper, but I don't want to be the cheapest guy in the area, okay? And, so, huh?
What is that?
Because it just draws different type of crowd.
Oh.
Okay, to put it frankly, but, you know, with all the budget stuff going on with the city, I was like, and, you know, I looked at, you know, I did my financials, I was like, oh yeah, well, you know, revenue did drop for the fuel. But I mean, you know, the profit is about the same because I charge more, right? So I was like, well, the city makes money from me, well, not, of course, the rent, but, you know, I think a fuel flowage fee has good amount of, you know, meat to it as well. So I decided I'm just gonna, I don't care what other people sell for it this year, from now on, I'm just gonna sell the hell out of it. So, you know, it was $6.99, I don't know, maybe a week and a half ago. It went down to $5.89. And then most likely the next batch will go down even a little bit lower. So my goal this year and from now on is to just sell the heck out of the fuel. Of course, there'll be a lot more work on our end because we need to, you know, get deliveries and do all that stuff. But I think that, you know, we'll try to help out the city with the fuel flowage fee as much as possible. Okay. All right, and then the last one, so the fuel side, you know, we were missing that 6 or 5, and then so we had to do that Mickey Mouse, you know, I mean, that sign that we created, and it will fly off, and it'll be like 99 cents. Anyway, so I asked Phillips 66, my provider, to provide a sign. Well, you know, it was 400 something bucks, but when he came, I was like, hey, Rob, you know, can we get this installed? He's like, well, we can fix it. I'm like, what? So anyway, they fixed it for us, for me. And then so I'm going to return the sign back to Phillips. So that's not a problem. And then the LED sign, you know, at the dispenser, I renewed a contract with Phillips for the next 3 years. So we have 3-year contracts. So part of the deal is, you know, they give me money every year just for saying as a thank you. So this LED sign cost, they're very proud of it. It cost, I think, $4,200. So I got it. I was like, I can't wait. I mean, I can't even see, you know, when I'm like this close to the sign, how much I'm putting in. So this, in conjunction with the lower price, I'm hoping to sell a lot more fuel. But I need to call the fuel master folks, the terminal folks, to make sure that I have everything I need to get it connected. And maybe I might need Shane and his electrical. I don't know. I never done this before.
It wasn't simple as just plug and play.
They made it sound like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But I mean, you know, it looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that thing's like 3 feet tall. I mean, it'll be a nice addition. So hopefully they'll get done by the end of this month. And yeah, that's about it for me.
Are you gonna turn that so it doesn't face like south or west so that
Well,
you can see it?
So what you're talking about is the terminal where you put the credit card in?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm talking about is the one at the dispenser. So when you're pumping, you're like, I don't know how many gallons I put in. Yeah, so that will be double-sided, but it'll be a huge sign that will go probably near something.
Like,
So it goes on a pump, maybe on the top of it?
Yeah, we could put it on top of the pump, of the dispenser, or we could put it on a pole, you know, it has a bracket, and a clamp for it. Well, yeah.
And while you're doing that, maybe look at something to keep some shade on it so it really makes it visible.
Oh, no, that thing will be visible. I mean, shoot, if they charge me $4,200, it better be visible.
Famous last word. Okay. That it?
Yep.
Okay, let's start with Chuck from the commission. You got anything, Chuck?
Meeting next month or skip over?
Says your next meeting is Thursday, March 21st.
Next month.
With you?
So,
So,
I'm good, thank you.
all right. Gary?
yeah, I want to bring up an event I have, May 27th, Memorial Day. They're going to have a flyover with the National Guard at the memorial there with the howitzer afterwards. And I don't have a date or a time on this. They're going to want to do a static display of 2 helicopters, some other military equipment out there. At the airport, talked to Debbie, talked to Rob, Tony out there at the meeting. Did you know if the hangar's going to get involved and have an open house that day or?
I asked about it, but
Work out
I
more.
didn't get an answer.
Yeah, so hopefully they have an open house and draw some people in. The National Guard's looking to have an aviation, like a aviation type thing. It's obviously a recruiting tool for them, but for me, they've asked me to get involved with my nonprofits. I mentor kids in aviation, so they're hoping to get a pretty good turnout out there. Their success rate is 25. A 2-hour event, so hopefully we can surpass that a lot. I was wondering if you, Mel, wanted to get involved and have a display, because hopefully we're able to open the hangar up and have kind of a display like they did for the open house over there, and maybe get the hammer involved and out there.
I'll be out of country on Memorial Day. But between these two, I think I can trust them to move my airplane down there for a display or something.
Well, so we're looking to just get some other people involved from the community, more on just organizations that want to come out there and kind of be a part of it, and hopefully for us that they would understand. I'm reaching out to a bunch of folks. The National Guard is good with the school district, but about 6 or 8 other organizations I've reached out to. Hopefully we'll bring people out.
So thinking big here, what if we get a bunch of people showing up and we're gonna help people park out there?
I don't know how that goes.
Anybody, because I mean, we can put this on our city webpage and it's, social media and let them know that this is gonna be happening at the airport.
I think that's Tony's responsibility for parking.
That's gonna be a bit.
Oh, I'm out of town.
I don't have a real people to expect. Just with our air festival, we talked about getting hold of the Chamber of Commerce, and having a secondary parking lot over there, and have a tram run back and forth. That's just real preliminary stuff. They're trying to get the okay from the aviation command to make sure everyone's gonna happen.
Before we hit social media, then maybe we think about, parking and how many people we can get and all that, just for safety. Yeah, so I'm all for the event. I think it's great.
Yeah, now when you're pointing the finger at me, how do you foresee me participating in that?
Well, I just know you're part of the ham radio club,
Okay.
so I know you guys have the stuff you set up out there. I don't know how often, but we've had rehearsals and stuff, so if you guys just want to do our advertise your club, come out there and set up a few things. I don't know who,
Actually, we're not a club. It's just a bunch of ham operators.
Yeah.
But yeah, and definitely we could rally the groups as if we're gonna get them in there. Now, the reason I said, I could have either Tony or Debbie haul my airplane down there is because of the paint scheme of it. It's definitely military oriented, so let's say Marine Corps oriented. So,
yeah, no, that'd be nice.
okay, is that it?
That's about what I know.
Okay, Nathan?
I like this guy.
One thing though, our minutes of last meeting mentioned fundraisers and Tony contacting somebody So they can come on the screen and tell us how they run the fundraiser, what it does, what works, what doesn't.
The Stark family in
Shoot,
Twin
that
Oaks,
sounds really familiar, but
the Stark family in Twin Oaks Airport.
Yeah, I think, but
I thought you were kidding, Chuck, when you always mentioned it. I was like, no.
the minutes were from November and they're,
What was this supposed to do?
oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's possibly getting a hold of, Bob Stark of Twin Oaks, kind of get an idea of how they go about it. But because I used to belong to that EAA chapter up there, 105, the first Saturday of the month, they have a blueberry pancake event. And on a given month, there's in excess of 300 people coming there for breakfast. So, they make a good draw.
So that could sell a lot of gas, or some gas.
Well, yes, because there is a lot of pilots fly in. We've had pilots from Cresswell, had pilots from Roseburg, even Medford flew up once or twice. People from the north side of the Columbia, et cetera. So yeah, there's a lot of people fly in, but there's a lot of local residents that drive in. So not only do you have the airplanes sitting out there that people can walk around and look at, there's a bunch of classic cars that show up too. So now you can eyeball the classic cars, airplanes and stuff. It does draw. Every month, like I said, there was historically about 300 people on a Saturday come in there.
Okay, so you want me to contact them and find out what it takes to put on these kind of events?
Well, to continue on that, because it wasn't just Bob Stark and his family. Now, that's a privately owned airport. Bob Stark owns the property, owns the airport, et cetera. It was the EAA chapter, EAA 105, that person
Provided the insurance.
that, well, I can't talk to the insurance, but all of the cooks and the cleaners, et cetera, were EAA members. And it just cycled through the chapter, sign up and, okay, now your turn is X number of months down the road. And you go in, you set up the tables, you clean the floors, you stack the chairs, you clean the grills, et cetera, et cetera. And it was to the point where we were serving people so fast and furious that when the health inspector showed up, they just basically sat back and watched and said, there's no reason for us to put a thermometer in there because it's not lasting long enough. It never got cold. They said, oh, you can't use that.
Is your organization to the point where you could put on a breakfast or a lunch or something? Do you have enough volunteers?
Which organization?
And
The hangar, historical.
so the issue is in order to do something as organized as that, is that you really need to have a commercial kitchen. Now, a commercial kitchen can take on, you can have a small commercial kitchen, or you can have a very large one. So that is definitely, and that will be on the goal, as soon as we can do it, that we raise enough money to put in a commercial kitchen.
That's
in the next
5-7 years down.
That's the real and buses.
Could be,
You can
but
just
we
see
don't
the
know.
range hood and the permit.
Let me ask Mel, so was this fundraiser primarily for the EAA or for the airport?
EAA.
You guys took all or most of the money?
Yeah, the EAA took it in, but of course, and I wasn't privy to the handshaking between Bob Stark and the EAA. But I know Bob made some money on it because, well, you flew in, now you buy gas.
Got all the gas or some kind of road.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, because I'm just kind of curious, I don't necessarily think the airport has to run as a profit. It's a city organization, on lots of city organizations. So the city we funded, so what's the responsibility either of us as a committee, or is the city gonna put on a fundraiser, or do we find another organization that will come in, whether it be the hangar or the EAA or the 99s or anybody else, like just, you know, just invite the people to do it now, right? We do it now, like the you know, the Eagles Lodge does it, or organizations do one a couple times a year.
Well, I don't know.
Well, but whoever does it, I mean, the key is to be consistent.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, initially when I first started 9 years ago, you know, I used to do that 4th Saturday hamburgers. I mean, you know, it started getting better and better. And then it got, you know, when the EH after took over, I got too tired. When they took over and then they combined it with the Young Eagles, I mean, it was getting pretty popular. And then, of course, the COVID hit, so, you know, that's bad.
I think
Yeah, I mean, it's not gonna be, hey, we started and next month we're gonna have 100 people.
No, the word's gotta get out.
It might take a year for it to, you know, get to that point where, you know, people know about it and they expect to go and stuff like that, you know, and make it kind of their destination.
Well, as a city person, are you in favor of any fundraisers going on at the airport, or
You
is
know,
the work?
I was just thinking, Chuck, I mean, even if it's city sponsored or if you have to bring somebody else in, you're bringing people there. And the more people we get to the airport, not only pilots, citizens in town, you get kids. Debbie's doing a great thing with the museum because she's bringing in kids. Parents have to drop them off, they come in, they see the airport. The more people we get involved economically is good for the airport.
Okay.
And
So you're not against
Not at all.
something?
No.
And by getting them there and having them able to look at the different airplanes that eventually show up,
Spark an interest.
then you start getting student pilots, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and it's amazing what, I do a lot of kids, what one little experience they'll plan in their head.
Yeah.
Right, nobody will be a pilot in their family. Oh, I went to an air show at one time I was 5 and I was fast.
I think Tony's got a great thing going on, you know, up in there and, you know, teaching pilots to fly. And I mean, just where does that take Albany? You know, I learned to fly in Albany. That's awesome.
It's feasible that, regarding this, back to your bailiwick, the Young Eagles, et cetera.
Well, I was gonna say too, Debbie, you know, the folks down at Cottage Grove Museum, right?
The same way.
You know, let's go back prior to COVID and stuff, but they used to have at least a few times a year, pancake kids, morning breakfast.
They
and
do,
stuff.
yes.
They still
Yes.
do that?
Well, it's now connected with the events that they have.
But
So
that
Wheels
is
and Wheels.
okay, yeah, that is but that's the museum, though. It's not tied to an EA chapter.
No, it's not.
Yeah, so there you go.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. And, you know, I would just put in that I'm really in favor of that kind of project of having pancake breakfast, because that really goes back to the historical part of Evelyn Burleson Waldron. She was really the one who started the breakfast because she was working for the Oregon Aviation. So that really fits in with the whole history. But two things is that we have a kitchen that we can keep clean, we can have our supplies. The other thing, one of the secrets with 105 is that I understand they had cards, and the cards went with the job that you did. So it's all spelled out for
Right.
people. And so if you volunteered to do this, you were handed a card and you knew exactly what you needed to do. And so that's what I'm hoping that we can do, is that we can have that kind of organization. So if we have someone who wants to volunteer, we say, well, here are the jobs and this is what you need to do. So.
Always optimistic. Is that a year away? Do you think next summer you may be leaning to it?
Well, I'm not ready to.
Oh.
Let me,
Yeah, we'll say
Let me
that
back
for
up.
business from the public.
Yeah, and then,
So what if there's another facility close to the airport, we can start having breakfast at that hasn't been built kitchen? That's something that's an idea, or just to start having that kind of stuff happen every month, 2-3 months.
Well, I mean, would it be an option to just get like a food truck or a food cart where
Yeah.
and then park it on the side? Oh, I'm sorry. Park it inside.
Well, there's just an industrial kitchen right there by the airport that you can gain access to and have events, and they welcome that stuff. I just don't know how much you guys.
I'll talk to someone that basically deconstructed a restaurant with, and the condition that he would deconstruct it for nothing. He got all the kitchen stuff. So I'll talk to him and see if he's still got that. It might be of interest. We'll see.
Is that, Rob, you know if there's that still FEMA money from the subduction zone floating around?
I'm not sure.
That was almost pre-COVID, but there's money for industrial kitchens. They put one out at the fairgrounds. These folks, like the Deschutes County Fairgrounds, have it. It's theirs until they need it for budget.
Wow.
So it's possible to get some money like that for the same thing for our report. That's one of the things I thought was important. Disaster preparedness, especially that subduction zones. Kind of what the ham radio guys are doing, and Tony, you guys are doing with the transporting. You guys are doing that every 3 months or 2 months or so.
Well, I think the next one is July or
Yeah,
something.
ODART is June. It's,
The practice. So.
yeah, there's 2 weekends in June for the ODART, Oregon Disaster Airlift Response Team. And the first week or weekend, they will be flying the supplies across the Cascades from the east to the valley. And then the next weekend, they will be flying those supplies from the valley to the coast. So it's a 2-weekend affair with a third weekend if weather prevents.
And I think if we got in with another company, I don't think the city could do this, but practicing disaster preparedness out there, I used to own a CPR company. And so that kind of stuff, I think, could be a fundraiser for the city in terms of doing the airport out there, especially if you get some money.
So Tony, don't worry about contacting those people. Right, you got it?
Yeah, we've got, I think we could hobnob it together pretty well without contacting Bob. But the timing is a critical thing because 105 at Twin Oaks does theirs on the first Saturday of the month. They're not gonna be real happy if we try to go in on the action there. I don't know who does the second Saturday.
It used to be Crestwell used to have something on
Okay,
Saturday.
so, and then maybe, but if,
The Hood River was the third Saturday.
so if we can pick up on the fourth Saturday and move forward with that, I think we wouldn't step on too many people's.
Yeah, that's why I do the fourth Saturday.
Yeah,
Or, I mean, why not even Sunday? I don't know. People go to church, but not every
Okay.
church.
so that's it for business from the commissioners. How about business from the public? Anybody online? The public?
So I'm Debbie Worker, and I'm one of the people working on the 1929 hangar project. I have, and Bar, you requested a list of the people on the steering committee, so I made up a list, and so you can see who's on the steering committee. And it's kind of exciting because when you look at the people involved, one of, you talked about the old cars, the car clubs. Martin Harding is one of those people, and he is very active in the Model A Club. So they have lots of activities. So just keep him in mind. And then Mark Baxter is buddy who's been working. We started working on the project. So that hit the connection, the really good connection with the Oregon Aviation Historical Society is Mark, because he's very active. So those are the people, and at times we have ad hoc committee members from the board, from the museum, because what we are working towards is the museum being a fiscal sponsor of us. So that it would be allowing us to use the reputation and the administrative skills of the museum, plus they are negotiating the lease with the city. So they're picking up liability and so on. So that's all in the works. And I'm not sure about where they're at the lease. We did ask Keith Losey, who's the senior curator of the museum, and he thought in March that they would bring that lease together. So that's where that's headed. So a lot of things that we're thinking about and want to do, it's going to take time until we get that lease signed and then we know about liability and so on. So the steering committee, which is the members that you have in front of you, we have had our third meeting. So the first meeting was kind of getting to know, talk about what we were heading, what our goals were, and what they would be working on. So we've had our third meeting. We've completed the mission statement, the vision statement, and next month we'll work on goals. And Chris Bailey from the city has been leading us through that, and we've had excellent attendance. There was only one meeting where a couple of people were absent, but everybody shows up. So it's really positive. So our next meeting is March 14th. And then, Gary, you had a question that you asked me about the general public coming in. And I checked with a couple of other people, and we said, let us get through some of this work that we're doing, and then we'll open up to the public if people would like to come and ask questions.
Okay.
It's not going to be exclusive, it's just getting that work done. So when we get to the point of forming the fiscal sponsorship, then we have what we need. So, let's see, a couple of things, because I was part of the committee for the Memorial Day celebration. So that's kind of a future activity we're looking at. We're looking at parking the Blackhawks in front of the 1929 hangar. It looks like it'd be a safe place to put it. I think that was the consensus.
Yeah, it'll take up a lot of space, but.
Yeah, but it wouldn't impede the taxiway that's along the runways. And then because of liability, I have to wait until I get a permission from the museum to be able to hold something inside of the hangar. So that's a big issue. The other thing is just a future project. We had a 5th grade teacher from Lacombe contacted Tony, and he's had an aviation unit with his 5th graders. And so he asked if there could be a possibility bringing his class to spend a day at the airport. So again, that's kind of the liability, looking at that. But Mark and I are going to go and talk to the teacher and talk to the class to see what they want to learn and what they know, so we can kind of assess it. But one of the things we'd like to do is something with model airplanes. And since the weather's unpredictable, we'd like to do something that we can build a simple model airplane powered by rubber bands inside the hangar. So that's kind of,
If you guys do something like that, will you take pictures, maybe even group picture?
yes,
And maybe we can,
you can post that. Yeah,
I think that would be great.
exactly. The other thing is I still have this huge list of kids who are interested in model airplanes. We haven't formed a club yet, but as we go through the process of setting up our relationship with the museum, then we'll know what we can do. So Mark and I have been looking at airplanes to build with the kids, starting with very simple ones and more complex ones. If you're interested, there's an indoor meet at South Albany High School, and it's really fun to watch. I mean, there are some really serious pilots there. So,
Well, the guy that came into the demonstration last year, he was
That's
really
Mark.
serious.
Allison,
That was impressive.
Yes,
That was really impressive.
yes, and it's all ages. The one gentleman I talked with, he was 90 years old and he was with his son. Now, you don't call the rubber band, you call it a motor. And I'm learning that there are certain, because it can take so many knots per twist, that then it has a name too. I mean, it's really serious. But fun, really fun.
Okay, thanks, Debbie. And we've never met you, or at least I've never met you, so could you identify yourself? And if you have anything for the order?
I am Maria Dodd, and I to finish one there.
Okay.
And we're Public Works, Anita.
Okay,
Sure.
we get your emails,
Yeah.
we've never met. Okay, so do you have anything for the order?
Chuck? I'm really disappointed in this. It seems like the Airport Advisory Committee really helped make this come about, and yet there's not a member of this committee on this. And I think there should be. I think it's an oversight. It's if that way there's constant liaison and feedback. And by the way, I'm not volunteering. I'm committed out.
No nominating stuff.
Yeah, right.
I think Nathan should pick up the ball here. Vim and vigor.
Aren't you on the committee?
I am on the committee and my goal
The
is,
airport committee, you resigned, right?
I resign, but I will always be reporting to.
Yeah, she's on the museum committee for the airport.
I'm on the steering committee.
Yes. I get that. It's
And I think
just,
that's why Debbie stepped down was, so there wasn't, in her conflict of interest, and she'll be, I mean, I think it's great that you step down to do this, and then you can report to us. I think that's great.
And I can take concerns back to the steering committee. Too, yeah.
why the hesitance to put a committee number? I mean, you have 9, what's 10?
Is there a conflict of interest there? I think that's why you stepped down, or?
That's why I stepped
Yeah.
down.
Well, she's also the one who's
Facility.
the actual,
Um,
the museum, so it's a little different than somebody from here sitting on there.
The other part of that, I don't know that, I don't know if there really is a conflict of interest from the standpoint that everything we do here as an advisory committee that amounts to something we vote on goes to Rob and or goes up to city county, depending what it is. We're an advisory
Right.
So,
We're not a steering committee.
yeah, I think we disagree with them, so.
She knows I do, because I've already talked to her about it. I don't see, and I agree with Dar, I don't see that there's a conflict of interest at all.
does that mean you want me back?
Yes.
Well,
There's no opening, sorry.
we can see you from that list.
But that would maybe. I'm really concerned. I just think it's inappropriate.
Are there openings?
Maybe if you understand how this committee came about, and it was me. I mean, it was Mark and I who had the idea, and we started meeting with the city. And so the people who were on here, in fact, Chuck, you recommended one of the people, is that I looked for people who were part of the community. And I'm speaking for myself. I believe that the airport will blossom when we invite the community to many activities. And one of the ways of doing that is reaching out to kids. So we're building community, we're building future aviators, future mechanics, designers, whatever. So it was just me working. I didn't know how to go about this, but I looked for people who were recommended and people who've been involved in community activities, and especially in the city of Albany. So Joanne, as you see, it was recommended to me. I did not know her. I did not know Martin. Joanne is
You're saying
retired.
things that are relevant to me, to what I'm asking.
You're relevant, did you say?
Yeah, what it, I mean, yes, there's other people on here, but how can this operate without a member of the airport commission? It seems like it's on the airport, it's part of the airport, it's part of our,
And yeah,
we can recommend to the city because of our involvement in what we're doing. Since that's our only charge, is to make recommendations.
and having Kirsten on there, Preston, my boss, I think is a good asset as well with that. And knowing what's happening and what's going on.
Directly from there to the city.
Yeah, isn't Rebecca on it too?
And Rebecca.
Yeah.
So are there openings on that board?
Well, before you answer that, Debbie, why don't we, as the commission, ask that you, at your next meeting, talk to the board and voice the concern and get their take on, could a member of the commissioners sit,
And be an
if
asset.
nothing, and, yeah, have,
I have no problem with that, and I think that's a fair way to do it. That it's not up to
I have
me.
a question for you. How many of these people sit on the board of the airplane hangar? So the steering committee, right?
Yes.
These are all voting members of the board
Uh,
when you guys form your,
but they won't be called a board, will be called a steering committee. And we report then we have a liaison under the
Fiscal
fiscal
sponsor.
sponsorship to the museum, exactly. So we're a steering committee,
you guys can't.
yes.
so you're in essence just an advisory group too.
Exactly.
But to allay Chuck's concerns is if we have since
Mhm.
you voluntarily resigned from this commission, if we have a current sitting member of this commission, part of that commission, if you will,
Mhm.
then we've got the connection between us and you and the museum. So if you would talk to
Yeah, definitely.
Chuck? Okay,
I got a question. So you'll always just have the museum as your fiscal sponsor because they're going to take on a lot of the revenue sharing for the,
No,
I thought initially you guys.
it
were gonna
depends
form your own.
on what we decide. It can be 2 to 5 years. And the reason for that is it puts us in a better position. And you have to keep in mind that that building is historic. So it puts us in a better position for grants. We can get started right away, hopefully, with raising money. We're not doing any of the administrative work. They are doing the administrative work.
So do you guys have a plan to form your own 501c3 nonprofit?
When we would leave, yes, when we would leave that fiscal sponsorship, but we have to get on our feet, and
No, I
that's really what there's an advantage to that. Great advantage.
Yeah.
okay, one last time, anything?
So just maybe some clarification on that, Rob. So as the museum, were they at, or, I'll turn their steering committee.
Mhm.
If they decide to do something, an activity out there at the museum, is that an approval through the Albany museums to you, or does any of that stuff filter up through the airport advisory committee?
Well, Kristen Preston is on that committee as well, my boss, and everything, I mean, probably pretty much go through her in the sense that we're representing the city.
So does that kind of go back, Chuck? In other words, I know you're kind of looking at things differently, but in some ways, what they do and have going on is a separate entity of what we're doing here, so to speak. I mean, they can put on a function without us Nothing, anything to do with that.
They could, but, well, like Tony,
Right.
correct? Like Tony could put on functions without asking. We don't approve, disapprove,
Yeah,
city
I
council
mean,
doesn't approve.
unless it's gonna affect the, like the ramp area or movement of the aircraft, I mean, it's happening within the leasehold space.
Exactly, that's what I was gonna say, it's a lease that we have with them. So, and there's, conditions for their lease that, stipulations if they want to improve that building. So.
And so as far as like Kristen being on there, I could see her being on the board, but she's not on this committee, but she oversees this committee. We're still here for purpose. So having somebody, I just agree with Chuck, having somebody from the committee goes there. I'll look at someone.
Well, let's have Debbie talk to these folks first.
Good.
And her meeting next month will be before our meeting next month.
Sure.
So she can feed back to us at that time.
And we'll fight for your position on the board.
I'm grateful, thank you. No, thank you.
Okay.
If I could just say one last thing, just quickly, is that it's really exciting to see how many people are interested, not only in the hangar, but in the airport, and how many people are supportive of what we're trying to do. And so I think one takeaway I have is how many people who want to help, and we're willing to talk with each other and respect each other's positions. I wouldn't do anything without talking to Tony. So,
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't use your space with that.
so I leave you with a positive thought.
Okay. Let's wrap it up. So see you all next month, Thursday, March 21st. Call the meeting adjourned.
Good.